So we've only 1 week left to play in the NFL. We still have so many decisions and clinching scenarios that still haven't happened, and so much is still up for grabs. So if we look over to the NFC side of things, obviously the Arizona Cardinals had everything kind of in their own hands. If they hadn't lost to the 49ers this past week, they could have just almost clinched the playoffs right there and then. But now with that loss, they need to beat the Rams. So it's a winner take all game for them, really.
Yeah, it's going to be such a crazy game on the face of things. You've got the Rams, who definitely don't have Jared Goff. They'll be starting John Wolford, who hasn't even taken one snap in the NFL so far. And you've got the Cardinals, who Kyler is doubtful to play. I think he's got, is it a hamstring or a shin injury, something like that? But he's doubtful to play. Obviously, even if Kyler's 50%, he's definitely going to play. But with Goff definitely ruled out, um, I think we're really going to see how good of a coach Sean McVay is. He's got so many plaudits, and rightly so. He's taken the Rams to the Super Bowl, but he really is going to need to scheme up a serious game plan. I think they're without Darrell Henderson as well, so they're a bit light at running back. This is a nightmare. This is the worst thing that could happen. Losing your quarterback in week 17 when you potentially need to win. But I think we will see what Sean McVay can come up with, and if it will be enough to beat a pretty good team in Arizona, who are obviously also fighting for the playoffs themselves.
Yeah, that's going to be another just very interesting game. That's going to go all down to the wire, just to week 17 to see who of these two NL West teams is going to make it. So yeah, and I mean, I think Chicago almost has the easiest way in, for the remaining teams to get a wild card. I mean, easiest I say, if they only need to win and they're in. But obviously they play the Green Bay Packers, who themselves are still fighting for that 1 seed in the NFC.
Yeah, Packers will, definitely want to come out and win this game. We know obviously Packers and Bears is the oldest rivalry in the whole NFL, and yeah, I think that the number 1 seed is obviously a huge advantage, but when teams have to come to Lambeau Field, and we saw Titans coming there, Packers didn't even miss a beat. It was snowing, it was freezing cold, and they looked like it was perfect weather there. And especially teams like the Saints, who play indoors, have a hot climate, they're really not going to look forward to having to go to Green Bay, and I think that's a huge advantage, and one that Green Bay won't let slip. If we've seen how Rodgers has played this year, he's been fantastic. I just can't see the Bears getting a win here.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough because, yeah, like you said, Green Bay Bears, they don't like each other, generally don't like each other. And I think even if the Packers wouldn't have anything to play for, they would still play their hardest, and just to spite the Bears and get them eliminated from the playoffs. I mean, you have to credit the Bears as well for what they've done these past few weeks. I think we ourselves almost have written them off a few times during the season, because of how bad Trubisky played and how bad Nagy coached this team. They've really kind of changed things up, and they score so many points now. I think they scored 4 straight games. They scored over 30 points. So they've really got something working. But yeah, I still think the Bears might be missing out on the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, it's you can almost look back and look how different the Bears season might have been. That you had Trubisky, who started the season, went 2-0, beat the Lions and Giants, and then was down in the third quarter against the Falcons. They took him out, brought in Foles. Foles won in that game, and then obviously they stuck with Foles with not very much success. And now you see Trubisky, who's actually playing quite well. I mean, he still doesn't look like the was it the third overall pick, or um, wherever
Yeah,
it was the Bears took him.
it
Third,
was second overall because, yeah,
second, sorry.
traded
Yeah,
up. Yeah.
he still hasn't obviously lived up to that, but yeah, he looks definitely a lot better than Foles looked. We've said constantly how bad the Bears' offensive line is, so his mobility obviously helps. But yeah, Bears are quite an intriguing one, and yeah, you're right. I think pretty much everyone wrote them off when they went on that 5 or 6 game losing streak. But yeah, they've bounced back very well, and yeah, they control their own destiny. If they can beat the Packers, they're in.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked already about the Packers a bit and about that kind of weird and crazy hunt for the 1 seed in the NFC. So it's kind of, even even the Saints could still make the 1 seed. It's kind of a crazy, yeah. Like I think even the Saints and the Seahawks could both still make the 1 seed. It's kind of crazy that it all comes down to week 17 as well. I mean, the Packers obviously have the easiest route to the 1 seed. Just if they win, they get, or even if they tie, they get the 1 seed. And then the Saints kind of have a crazy one. They need to win, then they need the Packers to lose, and they need the Seahawks to win as well. Because if there's just going to be a two-way tie between the Saints and the Packers, then the head-to-head is the deciding factor. And the Packers beat the Saints this season, so the Packers will get the 1 seed. But if you have three teams with the same record, then it's a three-way tie, and the conference record is going to be the deciding factor. And there, the Saints have an edge on the Packers because the Packers have actually 2 losses against NFC teams this season, and the Saints only 1. So yeah, and even the Seahawks could still get first round bye with a win, and then a Green Bay loss and a Saints loss. So they're kind of a long shot to getting the bye.
Yeah, you probably can't see the Seahawks getting the 1 seed, but it's definitely possible that New Orleans could get it. I mean, I know we've just said we don't think the Packers will lose to the Bears, but hey, it's been a crazy season. You know, any game where it comes to clinching scenario, all of the form kind of goes out the window. But yeah, it's possible that the Packers don't end up with the 1 seed, but you would definitely fancy them to from here. You know, and I think the Packers are starting to peak as well. There's a few teams in both conferences right now that are really trending right in the right direction, and you really do not want to play them. I would say obviously the Bills, the Packers are definitely trending, the Seahawks starting to go that way as well, and yeah, my prediction would be that the Packers would get the 1 seed and probably New Orleans would end up with the 2.
Yeah, I cannot see the Packers lose to the Bears. I definitely agree with you on that they're gonna end up with the 1 seed. And yeah, like let's move over to like the craziest division and the worst division in football, but still kind of the one that has almost the most to play for in week 17. Like still 3 teams could win the division and end up going to the postseason. Like the Washington football team have the easiest way. They just have to beat the already eliminated Eagles, and they're the East winner. So
yeah, this could easily be a division where 6 wins gets you into the playoffs. And you look at the AFC playoff picture, there's probably going to be at least a 10, maybe an 11 win team that misses out. But that's just the way it is. You know, winners get to go to the playoffs. You would probably expect Washington to beat Philadelphia, although they've looked so much better since Hurts has come in, and kind of going back to that rivalry in games across divisions where teams really, you know, don't want to see their division rivals make the playoffs, and if they have a chance to stop them, then by all means they will. So you can expect Philly and Dallas both to come out strong. Obviously, Dallas can also make the playoffs now, right? Is that correct?
like both so that we have the Giants and Dallas that go on head to head, and just the winner of that game is going to win the division if Washington loses to the Eagles. So
Right.
both of them just have to win the final game, and then just hope that the Eagles could help them out and win.
Yeah, I mean, and again, this is perfect. This is exactly what the NFL wants. You know, coming into the last game of the season, you've got 3 teams that can win the division, 3 teams that can make the playoffs, and they're all playing each other. So yeah, it's definitely good to watch. Definitely very exciting. My prediction would be probably that Washington would beat Philadelphia, but we have to see if they have Alex Smith. If not, you would probably expect Taylor Heineke to start again. But yeah, don't write off the Eagles. I mean, they would love nothing more than to be the team that stops their rivals, Washington, getting into the playoffs. And I think that the Giants Dallas game is almost a coin flip as well. You've got Dallas, who have been playing a lot better lately. You've got New York, who have everything to play for. My prediction would probably be that Washington comes out of the NFC East.
Yeah, I still think Washington's not gonna Ron Rivera will have that team all fired up and all ready to go, especially after that debacle against the Panthers last week. I think they're going to be ready for it. And obviously, if they have Alex Smith, it's going to be a much easier ride against the Eagles. But I think, like you said, Washington will win the East, and the other game won't really matter because I wouldn't be able to say who would come out on top of the Giants and Dallas. But yeah, I think Washington will win the East and for some reason then obviously get the 4 seed in the NFC.